Okay, my name's Jonathan Clark, Scooter, and we're going to film a box of trees here so people understand what tree planting is all about. Where I'm working today, we're in British Columbia and we're planting on a private woodlot. So the specs are a little bit different than if you're planting on open cut blocks for a licensee for a major lumber producing corporation. Basically what we're trying to do on this guy's woodlot is he's got poplar trees there already. He wants to turn it into a cash crop that's a little bit more valuable over time, so he wants some spruce trees in there. Well, actually he wanted any type of coniferous, but spruce trees are shade tolerant, and so instead of just mowing down all the poplar and starting fresh, which he could do, he was worried about the impact of carbon sequestering and stuff like that. So instead of cutting down all the existing poplar, we're going to plant spruce underneath it, and those spruce trees are really shade tolerant compared to some other species, and so over the next 30-40 years they'll slowly grow up and they'll slowly replace the poplar, and so eventually you'll have a forest that's a better cash crop, and at the same time it doesn't release a lot of carbon into the atmosphere if you cut everything all at once and then start fresh. So we're going to plant a box of 180 spruce trees. I'm going to bag up right now, and we've got a couple different cameras here going, so hopefully that will give you guys watching this a better idea of what's going on. I'll put a head cam on so you can see my planting a little bit more closely, and we've also got the other camera that you're looking at right now. Spruce trees. So I've got three bags here. 1, 2, 3. My back bag, I've got my safety gear that is very rarely used anymore. Tree planters don't really need to use much safety gear out there when they're planting. This is my right hand side when I put the bags on. I pull trees out with my left side, so these are kind of like the reserve side. That's why I've left them all bundled up for now. This side will be my left side. I'm going to unbundle the trees, and that way I'll be able to grab them out faster as we're planting. Okay, that's getting pretty full. So I think we're just about ready. Put this on. This is a little awkward wearing this, but trees aren't very heavy, usually 30 to 40 pounds for a full bag up. Alright, let's go. Okay, so this is the section that we're going to be planting in. The temperature today, it's pretty warm. It's 29 degrees. Well, it's going to be 29 in a few more hours. It's not quite there yet. This is kind of nice because it's shady. We get planting sometimes 33, 34 degrees Celsius, but when you're out in the sunlight, it's actually quite a bit hotter than that. We've been planting in here for the last few days, so basically there's trees existing already. You can see one on the ground right there. And this is kind of the last line of trees that we planted last night. So what's happened here is on my left side going in, there's a bunch of trees. Everything to the right is still open. So the technique is that you kind of plant another line of trees beside the existing trees. So as I'm planting, working my way in there, I'm going to be looking for those existing trees that are already there, and I'm going to be trying to keep those on my left side, and I'll plant a new row about 2 to 3 meters to the right of them. Our average spacing in here is we want a tree every 2.5 meters roughly. So some of them will be a little bit closer, some a little further. Anyway, so yeah, I'll end up doing another line in, and let's get started.
I'm going to do a couple of voiceovers here too of stuff that I couldn't really talk about while I was planting, just because I was trying to plant. But also, since I'm not talking through a lot of this video, I do have some music playing in the background to keep it from being quite so boring. You may not enjoy this kind of techno music, but if you don't, just turn the volume down. If you do like it, and you're curious to get a copy of it, what I'm playing is one of the episodes of my weekly Tech House radio show. You can find all the episodes at www.chma.fm. This is episode number 90. I do have a paid SOCAN license for this show, so the show is distributed legally on the internet and played on several stations around the world. The show is called Subterranean Homesick Grooves, and it's also distributed through iTunes as a free podcast. So check it out if you like this kind of music. This video isn't designed to teach you how to plant, by the way. I've got other videos online that talk extensively about the process involved in planting a tree properly. This is more just an overview of watching one box of trees go into the ground, so it's kind of boring. And that's what tree planting's like. It's a very solitary occupation. Most planters don't listen to music, perhaps because it's a pain in the ass to keep your equipment working while you're planting, and you lose a few minutes each day fiddling with headphones. On some contracted foresters won't let you listen to headphones in both ears due to safety concerns. For instance, if a bear comes up behind you, you want to hear the other planters yelling to warn you. Or maybe if there's an emergency and the block's being evacuated, you need to be able to hear the evacuation signals. So yeah, if you're a planter, you'll spend a lot of boring time, a lot of days alone with just your thoughts and the bugs. You'll notice that I'm frequently putting my left hand, which is my tree hand, onto my shovel. You should never do this. I'm somewhat ashamed that I was doing it in this video, but this ground was actually a lot harder than it looked. The first 3 days I planted on this contract, I went completely through the sole of a brand new work boot with a steel shank on my kicking foot, and I had to go out and buy another pair. Now this particular section that I was working in was actually the best ground on this woodlot, but even this section was pretty hard. On about probably 99% of the blocks that I work on, especially in Alberta where there aren't a lot of rocks, I don't ever have to kick my shovel to put it into the ground. I just drive it in with my arm. But on some parts of this woodlot, I was kicking the shovel 6 or 7 times to drive it into the ground deep enough to plant a tree. Now that's still no excuse for having 2 hands on the shovel, but it does tend to happen inadvertently when you're fighting with really compacted soil. It's too bad that the camera can't capture the environmental conditions here. Above and beyond the heat, most of this woodlot is full of thorns. You can see me walking through the stuff like it's just grass, but there were a lot of rose thorns in it, plus some Scotch thistle and some stingy nettles. This was filmed in the second week of September, and Susie and I were still pulling thorns out of our hands in November. The planting season for the vast majority of Western Canadian planters runs from the start of May until the end of July, and this was a small special project that very few planters would be involved in. But even if you finish planting in July, you'll probably still have scrapes and scratches and thorns in September. And actually, your big toe might still be numb until Christmas. It's a weird condition that we call Christmas toe. Now, if you look at me, it looks like I'm not really pushing myself, and that's actually true. I'm not planting as fast as I could. But the thing about planting over the course of the season is that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you can't go at your top speed all the time. You have to pick a good speed where you're pushing yourself, but you want to maximize your long-term output. So if you look at a good planter, someone who's planted for a couple of years, you'll see that they usually move pretty smoothly. They are efficient. So efficiency, that's what really matters to a planter. Now, if you think about a normal day, you may plant 2,000 or 3,000 trees. If you waste half a second doing something stupid every time you plant a tree, over the course of a day, that adds up a bit. Over the course of a season, that adds up to a lot of wasted time. And more importantly, it's also wasted energy. So as you learn to plant, you'll learn how to do things really quickly. Now in this video, it looks like I'm not spending a lot of time putting each specific tree in. If you're a first-year planter, you'll find that you're spending, instead of 3 or 4 seconds putting a tree in, you probably spend 20 or 30 seconds planting a tree, making sure the quality is right so you're not going to get nailed for quality problems. I've planted quite a few, 750,000, so I'm confident when I walk away from a tree that I've done a proper job on it. As a first-year planter, you're not going to have that confidence. It's going to take you a long time before you can get to that point. Also, I've got lots of little subtle tricks that you might see them on the video, but you might not recognize that I'm doing them, and that all adds up to more efficient planting. So just to put it into perspective, because I can't really explain all these little tricks, you just don't understand until you've tried to learn how to do it. But what I do want to talk about is how many calories a person burns in a day, and that should make you think. So what I did was I took a typical day near the end of this contract, and I wrote down everything that I ate during the day. And I'm going to tell you what that is, and you're probably going to be a little bit surprised. So starting with breakfast, I had 3 yogurt cups, which is 240 calories. I had 4 cinnamon buns with butter, which I estimated at 500 calories. Most of these numbers I got off the packaging of the food that I ate, although a few things I had to look up on the internet afterwards and guess. And I also had a bowl of strawberries, which was 45 calories, and a bit of water. So total breakfast, 785 calories. Not much so far. Well, it might be quite a bit in the real world. During the day, I had 5 pepperoni sticks, which was 400 calories. I had 10 granola bars, which is 1,600 calories. I had about a third of a block of Marvel cheddar, which was around 150 grams, or 600 calories. I had 14 bottles, 500 milliliters each, of water, no calories there. I had 6 bottles of Gatorade at 591 mils each, which was 780 calories. I had 1 large bottle of Clamato juice, which was 880 calories, and I had 2 small bottles of juice, which were 360 calories. So my total during the day, 4,620 calories. That's just while I was planting. And then once we got home for dinner, I had 2 Uncle Ben's Bistro Express rice bags at 250 grams each, which was 800 calories. I had 4 more pepperoni sticks, which is 320 calories. I had 2 Gatorades, which was 260 calories. I had a couple glasses of water, no calories there. And I had 3/4 of a bag of cheese pierogies, which was 1,260 calories. So the total of dinner was 2,640 calories. The total for the day, for the 24 hours, was 8,045 calories. Now, if you know anything about calories, you know that's more than a person normally consumes in a day. If you weren't planting, you would balloon very quickly eating this much food every day. But the funny thing is, even with that many calories going into me, you lose weight still. Planting burns that much energy. And that's not even talking about the 15 or 20 liters of fluids that I had there, which you could figure out. But yeah, I mean, the last time I planted for an extended stretch, for 7 weeks, I lost 30 pounds
and I was eating that much food every day. So that just goes to show how much energy you burn, and it goes to show how much it matters that you become efficient at what you do. This job is not easy. It may look easy the way I'm kind of sauntering around here, just casually plopping trees in, making money, but believe me, it is not easy. I mean, look at the amount of sweat. You know, I started off with a dry t-shirt at the beginning of this run. Pay attention at the end of the video and see how sweaty I am. Okay, that's all.
Like I said, I wasn't planting too fast here, just a good steady pace. It took me 44 minutes to plant this box of 180 trees. In this particular piece, I'm forced to plant a straight line to get near the back, but usually I try to organize my piece so I plant back towards the cache and bag out at the road. However, I couldn't do that in this particular situation, so assume another 10 minutes to get back to the cache and to bag up again. So in that case, you're looking at 54 minutes for 180 trees, which is about 200 trees an hour. Assume that you're leaving for work at 7 a.m., you get started at 8 a.m., you're planting until 5 p.m., and then you get home at 6 p.m. Let's also assume that you don't really sit down to take a break. You maybe take 2 minutes to eat between each box of trees, but that's it. So 8 hours of planting time at 200 trees an hour is 1,600 trees per day. That's not a lot. In faster, easier ground, an experienced planter with, say, 3 seasons of experience should almost always be planting about 3,000 trees a day, which is twice as fast as I'm working here. In the best land that you'd encounter, I've done over 5,000 trees a day, so this is a pretty relaxed pace, but it's slightly higher priced trees too because it's a woodlot. And you know what they say, slow and steady wins the race. So just keep your head down and keep moving constantly, and that's your best path to success.
Here's a couple of the worst thorns there are. Scotch thistle. Those are really sharp. These ones here are stingy nettles. Those don't look like they've got any barbs, but they leave a poison on your skin. It's really itchy. And there's been a lot of rose bushes up before this point. Luckily, you almost never run into stinging nettle on a real block. So that's how you do it. Do that about 600 times in a season and you'll be making good money.
I love this feeling.